Mike, check. Justin Hunt. It's all happening. Thanking everybody rocking with the channel. Thanking everybody subscribe through the channel, who shared a video, shared a link. It's priceless. Big thank you to everyone who's donated. If you'd like to donate, you can hit the Cash App that's right up there, or you can hit the link in the description. And big thank you to all my newest members. Danielle Krasick, Finesse for Sale, Kels, The Shy Butterfly, Energy Drink, Bucktooth, 9-second applause. Thank you. It's all happening. I'm wearing my Big Ten tournament t-shirt, or hoodie, rather. Went to the Big Ten tournament this weekend in Indianapolis for the women's side. And man, I wanted Juju to win. I wanted USC to win. It wasn't their year to take home the Big Ten tournament. Big shout out to UCLA. All the Bruin fans out there. But it's really weird seeing UCLA and USC in the Big Ten championship. All these conference realignments. Messing up my equilibrium. But had a great time, so big shout out to everyone that I met there. Met a lot of great people. I actually did an on-the-street interview about women's basketball. And so I'm debating about whether to put it on this channel. I don't know how many women's basketball fans there are in this audience. If you would like to see this man-on-the-street interview, it's not for me. It was for a channel called Logo 3. And I think they primarily cover Caitlin Clark. So let me know if you guys are interested in me putting this man on the street interview. It's about 3, 4, 5 minutes long, something like that. If you want to see my thoughts on women's college basketball, because I love women's college basketball. I love women's basketball right now. To me, it's the most entertaining form of basketball there is at the moment. So 1-second applause to women's basketball. All right, big stories today. Up first, man, Doechii. Doechii's winning streak continues. 1-second applause to Doechii. Doechii's coming off of Best New Artist at the Grammys. Doechii had an incredible campaign leading into the Grammys with the release of Denial is a River, the music video, and the sort of 90s era theme song, 90s era sitcom motif of the video, art direction for the video, so that was great. And Alligator Bites Never Heal and Denial is a River have been steady on the charts, as we've been covering over the past couple of weeks. But perhaps this might be, at least for Doechii, the biggest honor yet. Now, during her Grammy speech, Doechii said, when she took home Best New Artist, Doechii said, only 3 women have ever won this award: Lauryn Hill, Cardi B, and Doechii. 1-second applause for that speech. Well, this weekend, Lauryn Hill was performing in Florida, and she brought Doechii on stage to rock with her. Let's take a look at this and we'll talk about it.
I want to introduce y'all to another sister, another beautiful sister. Miami, make some noise for Doechii.
That's definitely Lauryn Hill. Anyone who's been following Lauryn Hill shows, you always hear a different rendition of her hits, because she was sued for saying that she produced all her work by herself, and therefore she lost the rights to perform the soundtrack, the musical compositions to her biggest hits. So they always riff on stage, or they have a different version they tend to perform live. So you're going to recognize the song, but it's going to sound a little bit different than what it does on the CD, on the classic project that we all revere so much. But here's Miss Lauryn Hill, and watch this. This is dope.
Doechii! Yo! Come on, Doechii! Come on, y'all, make some noise! What?
She brought Doechii out on stage. Listen to this. She's rapping Lauryn Hill's verse to that thing. This is a moment. Lauryn Hill is hype manning for Doechii rapping Lauryn Hill's verse right now. This is a big deal. We'll get into it.
Girls, you know
Look at the look on her face. She's like, wow. 1 second applause to Doechii. She can't believe it. She can't believe it. Look at this. She can't believe it. Look at this. This is such a cool moment.
Watch out, watch out. Look out, look out.
She almost put the mic back up there. She was like, wait a minute. I don't want to overstep. Can't step on Miss Hill's toes right now.
Watch out, watch out. Watch out. Look out, look out. Watch out. Watch out, watch out. Watch out, watch out. Look out, look out. Look out, look out. Look out, look out. Watch out, watch out.
Word up. 1 second applause. That's a crazy moment. That is a crazy moment. Now, this is Doechii's post about it. Thank you, Miss Lauryn Hill. Thank you. My heart is so full. She is my hero. This is the greatest honor hip-hop could give me. Praise God. My entire body is vibrating with joy right now. I'll never forget this day ever. 1 second applause again. Crazy engagement. I mean, she got 100,000 likes right here, 2 million views, 10,000 retweets, reposts. First quote, "You deserve this and more, girl. We stand with you and your art. Keep shining." That's beautiful. That's a beautiful moment. Now, this is who Doechii says is one of her biggest inspirations. She talked about how Miseducation of Lauryn Hill was so influential to her in her life, as it is in so many of our lives, to be honest. I mean, it's a generational album. First rap album to win album of the year at the Grammys, which is interesting because I don't think of it as a rap album. You know, it's definitely a hip hop album, 100%. But I feel like there's more singing than there is rapping on it. That's generally the line that you need to walk if you're going to win Best Rap Album at the Grammys. I mean, the only other project to win Best Rap Album at the Grammys was Outkast Speaker Box Love Below. And half of that album was Andre singing. You know what I mean? But it's a very rarefied air. Again, Lauryn Hill also won Best New Artist at the Grammy, which is something that Doechii and Lauryn Hill have in common. So let's take a look at some of these reactions here. First one here, whoa. Lauryn Hill doesn't co-sign just anybody. And that is very true. That is very true. I mean, Lauryn Hill has been pretty reserved with her shout outs and co-signs over the course of her career. Lauryn Hill does not give out co-signs easily. I mean, even in this moment, for her to allow Doechii to rap her verse, to share their stage, is a big deal. This is a big deal. She rarely does this. I don't know if I've seen her do this with another MC that comes to mind. You know, I've seen her on stage with Nas. Zion, her son, has been performing with her recently. Obviously, I've seen her on stage with, sharing the stage with some of the Soulquarians, the Dave Chappelle Block Party. There was a lot of crossover stuff there. Obviously the Fugees, but Lauryn Hill shows are generally Lauryn Hill shows, and so Elise, not Elise, is it wrong when she says, whoa, Lauryn Hill doesn't co-sign just anybody, especially to this level. All right, let's see what else we got here. Now, this is Dissect Podcast. Now, this is interesting, too. Dissect Podcast says, this is such a full circle moment for Doechii. In our convo, I asked when music first became something that moved her on a deep spiritual level. Her response, here's from Dissect Podcast.
One that's passionate about music, there's a point in their life where music is something you listen to and it transitions to something that deeply moves you.
Yeah.
Do you remember that time in your life when that transition occurred?
It occurred when I listened to The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill.
Okay.
Yeah. That album was when I would just listen to music before, but then when I listened to her album, it's almost like I would be performing the songs through her to myself.
Okay. And
it became, oh, I want to do this. I can do this.
Full circle moment, like they said. 1 second applause. I don't know. It's funny thinking about that. I think for me, what was that moment for me? What album did I transition from listening to music to being deeply connected to music? Music was always around the house. But from a rap standpoint, it was probably Creeping on the Come Up, Bone Thugs and Harmony. But like, you know, I was always listening to everything pretty much. Shout out to my cousin Shah for always putting me on. But when that album came out, I was like, this is different. That was the transition point for me. So 1 second applause to Bone Thugs and Harmony and Creeping on to come up. All right, so let's check more reactions here. Here's Mr. Busby. Shout out to Mr. Busby. Lauryn Hill co-signing Doechii on stage is low-key on the same level when Snoop and Game gave the torch to Kendrick. I'm just saying. This is being talked about as a very significant torch passing moment. Very significant torch passing moment. First comment, I don't think Game wanted to give it to him in hindsight. Here's Mr. Busby. Seriously, 1 second applause. But you see how the conversations are, how this is resonating, how this moment is really turning into something of more weight and gravity than what we normally think when, you know, an iconic legacy artist brings out a new brings another artist on stage. Lauryn Hill doesn't do this very often. I can't think of her ever doing this, to be honest. If someone in the audience, if you guys can point out other situations where Lauryn has done this, please let me know, because I can't remember this. And I woke up, you know, the morning after this happened, and I saw this video, and I was like, wow, I don't think I've ever seen this before. Here's Kagomi. If Lauryn likes Doechii, you can't really tell her ish. I haven't seen Miss Hill co-sign any of the other rap girlies like this. This is historic. You know, like this is something sincere. And that is starting to lead to a different conversation. You know, we'll get to that in this video, but, you know, obviously we're in a super fan environment and everyone's fan bases are on a 1,000 trillion on social media. But Kagomi, I think she's right. You know, she says she hasn't seen Miss Hill co-sign any other of the rap girlies like this. This is historic. Franklin Leonard, but what will really blow your mind is that Doechii was born exactly 5 days before The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill was released, August 14th and August 19th, 1998. Shout out to August 19th. That's my birthday. 1 second applause. Happy birthday to me. Which is to say that Lauryn was making this album while Doechii was literally in utero. I don't know if we need that last sentence, but that's another parallel that stood out to me too, because I remember Kendrick telling a story about how he was born a few days before or after. There's some correlation between Kendrick and Pac's birthday or something, that he was talking about the story about his mother telling him that. You know, and sometimes there is, a universal connection, a spiritual connection to a lot of artists who inspire us, you know, but this is actually pretty interesting. She was born 5 days after the album. She was born 5 days before the album came out, and the album came out on my birthday. I forgot about that. So 1 second applause to me again for my birthday. That was only 30% of the reason why I wanted to share this reaction. Here's another one from EM. Doechii gets a stamp from Lauryn Hill herself. Nicki Minaj has never been invited by Lauryn Hill despite praising her as inspiration. Doechii is the new queen of rap. Now, this is where the conversation spins. This is where the conversation spins, right here. Because there was a major back and forth between the Barbs and, I don't know, the Alligators. I'm not sure what Doechii calls her fan base. I'm not sure if they have that yet. Let me know if she has a name. I like the Alligators, the Gators. I'm with that. Gator sounds dope. 1 second applause to Gators. But no, I'm sure Doechii has a name for her audience. But people are trying to compare this to Nicki Minaj or even Cardi B, right? I mean, Cardi B also won Best New Artist at the Grammys. And that's, again, a very unique club. That's a very exclusive club. Best New Artist at the Grammys, Lauryn Hill, Cardi B, and Doechii, right? So Doechii and Lauryn Hill already share that, you know. And, you know, we haven't seen Lauryn Hill co-sign Cardi B to this extent by any means. But you start to see the war of the fan bases, right? So here's another one. Red Media. Nicki Minaj stands to send on Lauryn Hill for bringing out Doechii on stage. They blame Jay-Z and Rock Nation. Always go back to Jay-Z and Rock Nation. Always at the end of every conspiratorial rainbow is Jay-Z and Rock Nation. Oh, Jay-Z. I love those. They're so entertaining. They wanted it to be Nicki Minaj since she was rolling on the floor to greet her fans a few years ago. So here's the post. It says, Jay-Z must have cut that check, Miss Lauryn Hill. We know you need it. Miss Tax Fraud. Miss Tax Fraud. But you never brought out Nicki, mumbling and cackling. Blah, ha, 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 ha. I mean, that's crazy. And here's a video that they're talking about.
No, please. I'm in love with you. I'm in love with you. Your spirit, your mind.
So that's Lauryn Hill there. So, but this is how the conversation is also being spent. Now you have people comparing audiences. Lauryn Hill supporting Doechii this way when you've had Nicki Minaj holding it down on a major level, massive level for the past 15 years. When you've had the impact that Cardi B had. I love Invasion of Privacy. To me, it's one of the best albums a woman rapper's ever made, in my opinion. It's definitely top 7 at least. You know what I'm saying? I love that project. But we haven't seen Miss Lauryn Hill co-sign them to this extent. Now, to me, it makes sense. It makes perfect sense to me. You know, I can't see Lauryn Hill co-signing BBLs. Can't see co-signing BBLs. Shout out to my boy, my frat brother, Mike Thomas. He's like, Lauryn Hill don't be co-signing no BBLs. And he's right. You know, Lauryn Hill was representing a different type of women empowerment. You know, she wasn't advertising for over-sexualized environments, arguably speaking. The level of sexual empowerment that she was espousing wasn't the same. Was not the same as Cardi B and Nicki Minaj. No shots and no shades to me. But to me, that's a huge reason why you would see Lauryn Hill co-signing Doechii. You know, Doechii's, generally speaking, she don't got no BBLs. She's not overly sexualized to the same degree. And just listening to Lauryn Hill's music and where it's lived and resonated, even before Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Listening to the things she said on The Score, which is one of my favorite albums of all time. You know, I think you can make a strong argument in 1996, Lauryn Hill is the best rapper, period, on the planet. The Score is incredible. 1 second applause. But she's not in that same bag. And she's very particular about who and what she co-signs. And I can definitely see Lauryn Hill deciding not to have Nicki Minaj or Cardi B on stage the same way, and why she may gravitate towards Doechii, you know. So nevertheless, this is what the fan bases are talking about here. But there's more Doechii news. Doechii was named Billboard Woman of the Year for 2025. 2025 Billboard Woman of the Year. 1 second applause. The accolades keep rolling in. Here's Billboard. The Red Hot rapper won both a Grammy and an NAACP award last month. Doechii is set to receive 2025 Woman of the Year award at the annual Billboard Women in Music event. The star-studded event is taking place Saturday, March 29th at YouTube Theater at Hollywood Park in Inglewood, California. Doechii won Rising Star Award at the 2023 Billboard Women in Music event. She is just the third woman to progress from the Rising Star Award to Woman of the Year, following Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande. So that 2023 Rising Star Award, keep that in mind, right? That's 2023, you know, because there's a lot of narratives going around about Doechii right now. And I think this 2023 Billboard Women in Music Award, Billboard Women in Music event, Rising Star Award, there it is another example that doesn't necessarily play into some of these narratives that are going around about Doechii, right? But we'll come right back to that. Keep that in mind. Here's Billboard. After receiving the Billboard Women in Music Rising Star Award in 2023, Doechii has quickly gained recognition in the music industry for her bold creativity and impressive talent. Hannah Karp, editorial director of Billboard, said in a statement, "With her genre-blending sound, Doechii is redefining what it means to be a trailblazer in the music industry. We are honored to celebrate Doechii and cheer on her continued success." 1 second applause. Billboard's Women of the Year award has become one of the music industry's highest honors. Past recipients include Karol G, SZA, Olivia Rodrigo, Cardi B, Billie Eilish, Ariana Grande, Selena Gomez, Madonna, Lady Gaga, and Taylor Swift. Doechii is the second rap artist to win the award, following Cardi B in 2020. Elite company again. Doechii, who was born in Tampa, Florida, is the second artist from the Sunshine State to be named Women of the Year. Grande, the 2018 recipient, also won the award. So Doechii, Billboard Woman of the Year. Lauryn Hill is bringing her out. This has a lot of people screaming industry plant. A lot of people screaming industry plant when it comes to Doechii. A lot of people saying that. And, you know, part of me could understand why. Just the explosive nature of her success in the past 9 months is something, generally speaking, kind of rare. Kind of rare. You know, outside of Kendrick and Drake last year dominating the hip-hop space with their battle, you had Future and Metro's projects. They really stood out last year. Arguably, Eminem's return with the death of Slim Shady. And then Doechii. Outside of that, there weren't that many big stories. You know, so if I'm not paying attention to what's been happening in hip hop over the past few years, especially some of these years like post-COVID have been a little dry, all things considered. If I'm not paying attention and I look up and it's November 2024 and I see Doechii everywhere. She was just in Paris Fashion Week. She was at New York Fashion Week last year. She's in the places at the peak of entertainment. Everywhere she goes, everything that's big in music right now, Doechii seems to be there. It seems to be very prominently placed. So it's led to industry plant allegations. You know, I think part of that's the conspiratorial nature of everything that's surrounding Kendrick and Drake. And since Doechii's on TDE, she's getting a little bit of that. But again, as we just mentioned, with Doechii named Billboard Woman of the Year. In 2023, Doechii won the Rising Star Award. The Rising Star Award. Off the EP that she had out. This isn't her first project. That EP she put out was so celebrated. So celebrated. It was a big reason why she was one of the rising stars, along with other artists. Now she's Woman of the Year. Alligator Bites Never Heals continues to rise on the charts. She's a multi-talented breakout artist who's very dynamic. And she's been working at this for a very long time. Very long time. I remember when we moved to Greenville, South Carolina. When we first moved into that development, Roper Mountain Estates. Shout out to Roper Mountain Estates. 1 second, applause. We first moved to Roper Mountain Estates. And, there was only maybe 40 houses in the neighborhood. 50 houses in the neighborhood, something like that. There was a bunch of empty lots everywhere. And then I go to college and I move to New York and I come back and, there's maybe like 20 more houses, 70 houses, 80 houses or something like that. So there was still a few open spots or whatever. And then I keep living in New York, move to LA, and I go back. And I go back one day and all the lots were full. They had built all the houses. There wasn't a vacant lot left in that neighborhood. I was like, wait, what happened here? Look at all this stuff. Well, when you're not paying attention, doesn't mean that work hasn't been getting done. If you're not following someone's story, someone's journey, so if you're not following them lay their foundation brick by brick, and you look up one day and they're on Billboard Woman of the Year, it might feel like an industry plant just because if you're not paying attention. But it doesn't mean that work to build this impressive fortress was just dropped from the sky. If you're not paying attention to it, doesn't mean that work isn't getting done. And she's been working very hard for a long time. I think DJ Z speaks to this really well. Big shout out to DJ Z with Audio Mac. He says, "We have to kill this narrative. Doechii's rise is what happens when undeniable talent gets time to develop and is backed by smart, sustained investment. If this feels inorganic, it's only because the industry rarely gives new artists this level of real backing anymore." 1 second, applause. There's been an emphasis on viral sensations, TikTok stars, people who have a song that's going crazy. We put more money into this social media, product of social media virality, and see where they can take it. It's not the same as investing in artists, building an artist, giving artists time to find their sound, build their relationships across the industry. Those are the things that Doechii has done. Those are the things that Doechii has done. And I think what we're seeing now more than anything else is the fruits of that labor. The fruits of that labor. So labor. The fruits of that labor. This is really dope. It's an exciting time. There's, genuinely speaking, what I would consider a new rap star that is here now. And it's something to celebrate, something to be excited about. This is no shade or shots at anybody else. But some of the things that Doechii is doing right now are rightfully being celebrated. And all of this industry plan stuff, just because you haven't been watching every brick be laid, doesn't mean that people haven't been working. So let me know what you guys think about all of this. My name is Justin Hunt. Like, subscribe to the channel, follow the Company Man on everything. Follow the Justin Hunt podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts. It's all happening.
Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. The mathematical breakdown of this mighty game of rap we in. It's boom bapping. Systematical culture views, it's radical, it's all happening. Shaking hands and dapping it. Light through the lens of hip hop, from trip hop to yes, dog, you don't stop, you don't stop. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening. Justin Hunt is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening.